Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, January 10th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up a win on the player prop with Ben Simmons over 8.5 rebounds, which was available at minus 128 on FanDuel. I know the line tends to have had a bit more juice than what we're usually accustomed to here. I think in the span of about a year, I've given out maybe 3 or 4 plays of minus, I'd say 128 or higher. And I'm pretty sure we're undefeated on those, so whenever I give them out, it's because I'm really confident in the play. Definitely a bigger sweat than I thought it was going to be. Came down to a last-minute rebound by Simmons to put him at 9. We got in early, like I suggested, at 8.5 because I knew the line would go up to 9.5. The line closed at 9.5, and because we got in early, we were able to get ourselves a victory. But for today's card, looking at the NBA, we're going to be sticking with the NBA for play of the day. There is some college basketball going on as well, and some hockey. We actually did pretty well in the hockey leans yesterday. College basketball is very intense. You had a lot of overtime games. But for brutal beat if you had Iowa plus the 5, by the way, that's absolutely terrible. You end up going to double overtime and then you lose by 6. Not exactly fun. That's probably the worst beat of the night. I know we leaned to Michigan here, so that was kind of lucky. But either or, for today's card, we'll give out the NBA play of the day, then we'll give out some leans on that, and then we'll give out some leans on college basketball. So we're going to dive right in. The play of the day is going to be on a matchup between the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets, and we like the Miami Heat here, minus 3.5 on the road, which is available on FanDuel at minus 110. Now, of course, that might seem like a bit of a square play because of how these teams have played lately, but I think that's exactly why this line is worth taking. I think this line will continue to climb, should close roughly 4.5. Just looking at how both teams have played. I know the Nets are getting a bit healthier with Caris LeVert coming back into the lineup, but the Nets have lost 7 straight, and as a Nets fan, I've watched a decent amount of that. This team just isn't good. I mean, as much as I want them to be good, everyone knew going into the year they'd be waiting for KD to come back next year and Kyrie would have to carry the load. Kyrie's out, and if Dinwiddie doesn't score 30 points in a game, the Nets pretty much have no chance of winning. The Heat have already beaten the Nets once earlier this season on the road. I think they'll be able to do it again. The Heat are 27-10, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and the Nets are 16-20. The Nets suffered a tough overtime loss to the Thunder in their last game by 8 points. I know the Thunder are pretty good, but the Thunder were on the second night of a back-to-back, so that definitely is a bit of a disappointing loss. Game before that, they lost at home. The last home game before that, they lost to the Raptors by 19, and pretty much the Raptors' entire starting lineup is injured. Heat entered this game on a 2-game winning streak. They were able to beat Portland at home, and they were able to smack the Pacers by 14 on the road. The main issue I have with the Nets, I just don't think they're going to have enough answers for the Heat's offense. I think the Heat's bench is just going to blow this game out of the water. The Nets pretty much offer no production whatsoever off the bench. You have Wilson Chandler, and I mean, Garrett Temple might start coming off the bench because of LeVert's return. But if you look at who the Nets have on the bench, they got absolutely nobody. I mean, your bench unit's looking like Wilson Chandler, DeAndre Jordan, Garrett Temple now. You got Pinston, you got Luau Cabarro. I mean, this team just can't score. You got Kurucs here. I mean, no, everyone who I've mentioned, you have Temple who's averaging 10.6. Nobody else of the 4 or 5 names I mentioned are averaging more than 7.8 points per game. This team has no bench, and I think people know how good Miami's bench is because of their ability to move people in and out of the rotation. I know Winslow's still out, so that does hurt a bit. But if you look at the rest of the rotation, I mean, you're looking at Harrow, Robinson, you have Jones, everybody's pretty much replaceable. You can just sub guys in, sub guys out, and everybody produces. Miami with Spoelstra he's done a great job with that coach just coaching this team up. And I think Miami is just a little bit too deep for Brooklyn to handle. This game might be close early on, but I definitely think that towards the end of the first quarter and the early part of the second quarter is when you'll see the Heat's bench start to blow this game open. I think based on that, I think you should see the Heat sneak away with at least a 4-point win. So the play of the day, once again, will be on the Miami Heat minus 3.5, which is available on FanDuel at minus 110. We're talking about some of the leans on today's card. Lean to the Pelicans here, minus 4 against the Knicks. I know that I'm typically not a fan of betting on bad teams. Pelicans have actually played pretty well lately. Knicks have been awful. And the Knicks will be without Julius Randle and most likely Marcus Morris in this game. Randle's already confirmed not to play. Morris is a game-time decision, but he's trending towards doubtful. The reason why there wasn't play today is because it's not official if Brandon Ingram will play tonight or not. If the Pelicans want to cover, Ingram's going to need to play. He's expected to play, but there's still a slight chance that he does not. So I'll still lean to the Pelicans, but keep an eye on Ingram status because he will need to go if you plan on covering that spread. Other than that, what else do I like? I know this is a road game, and the Spurs have been terrible on the road. I'm actually going to lean to the Spurs in this one. Both teams are roughly middle of the pack in the Western Conference for the Spurs and the Grizzlies. I know that middle of the pack, they both have losing records, really a testament to how bad the Western Conference is from top to bottom. But overall, the Spurs have looked really good the last two games. They were able to beat the Celtics and the Bucks. I think they should be able to keep it going against Memphis. There's a chance this loses because the spread for the Spurs right now is +1. But I don't know. Both teams have played well, but I kind of like what I've seen from the Spurs, and I think they might be turning a corner. So lean to the Spurs on that one. Other than that, I'm going to lean to Dallas -2 here against the Lakers. I know that spread looks a little bit questionable. Anthony Davis currently questionable to play. I don't see how he's going to play. According to some reports, he was still feeling sore yesterday, and I don't really know why you'd want to rush Anthony Davis back after he took that massive tumble against the Knicks. I think the Lakers will give him the day off. I think that even though Porzingis is still out for Dallas is used to him not being in the lineup, has already played without him for over a week or two. I think Doncic will have a big game. I think you should see some other people step up. I think Hardaway will play well. But I think this game will be close. I'll lean to the Mavericks at home, though. I think that the Lakers without Anthony Davis in the lineup are just a completely different animal. Lean to Dallas on that one. Now for college basketball, looking at some games. I'll start out with the two games involving ranked teams. You have Maryland versus Iowa, and then you have Butler versus Providence. I'm going to lean to Iowa here, plus the 2. I know that this line looks looks short, and I know money has come in on Maryland. But if there's one thing I've known about Big Ten teams, never bet on them on the road. I expect Maryland to struggle. I think Iowa will have a very solid home court on this Friday night. I think this game will be close. I know Iowa struggled with defense. I think Garza will be a handful on the interior, and I think Iowa should be able to do enough with their three-point shooting with Bohannon and such to cover this number and potentially win the game outright. So lean to Iowa on that one. And the late game, you have Butler versus Providence. Same logic, I'm going to lean to Providence here. I know Butler's number 6 in the country. Their offense is terrible. Their defense is elite. They have one of the best defenses in the entire country. But the line's going from -2.5 to -1.5. And based on how the line has trended and how Providence has played at home, I think Providence will get the job done. So lean to Providence on that one and lean to Iowa. But the play, once again, will be on the Miami Heat -3.5, which is available on FanDuel at -110. Other than that, that's going to be the installment of Scott Selections here for Friday, January 10th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.